Baruch Hashem, it is day number 321 of our daily study of Rambam, Sefer HaMitzvos, and in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah, we are concluding Hilchos Sanhedrin v'Einchin HaMasurin Lohem with chapters 25 and 26 of those laws. And we're going to start a new section today as well, which I'll momentarily, God willing, I'll mention to you. But first, let's do the mitzvah that corresponds to the end of these laws. Negative Commandment 317, the prohibition against cursing one's fellow. Now, you may remember yesterday we had the prohibition against cursing a judge and cursing a nasi, a leader. So this is cursing any fellow. Now, you may be thinking, based on stuff that you've learned in the past, are these stackable? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, they are. So that means that if one were to curse a judge, it's actually 2 prohibitions because that's your fellow and he's a judge. Now, what if you curse a nasi? Well, the nasi is also a judge. So he's your fellow, he's a judge, and he's a nasi. That's 3. That's 3 prohibitions. Oh, and by the way, what if you are the son of the nasi and you curse him? That's 4. You didn't learn about that one yet. But it's a specific prohibition against cursing one's father. God willing, we're going to learn that in a few more days when we get to the laws of respecting your parents are included in Hilchos Mamrim in a few more days, God willing. Okay, so that's 4 potential prohibitions. And I mentioned yesterday that cursing a judge gets lashes even though there's no action involved. Normally, lashes are only administered for prohibitions where you have to actually do something, a physical act. And I mentioned yesterday that if you curse a judge, even though it's only verbal, there's still lashes administered. I didn't mention the same thing about the nasi, but yes, the same thing about the nasi, and the same thing about this prohibition we're learning right now, negative 317, same thing with cursing any fellow Jew. Okay, now, what's interesting, fascinating, I think, about this mitzvah is the way that it's phrased in Torah, and this is from Vayikra Yud Tes Yud Daled, Leviticus 19:14. It says like this: Lo sekalel chedish. Don't curse a deaf person. Why does it say don't curse a deaf person? Only a deaf person? No, anybody. But the Torah comes to teach us even a deaf person who won't hear the curse. You're going to say maybe he could lip read? No, that's the point. You go like this, and he doesn't hear you. But it's still prohibited. Well, why is it prohibited? So there are different places where the Rambam reveals his insight into the human mind, into psychology. But normally Sefer HaMitzvos is not one of those places. Except here is an exception. And it's really fascinating. I really recommend anybody, if you have access to the original text or a translation of it, to look what the Rambam writes. He basically says like this: when people are wronged by someone else, there's a whole wide range of human reactions. Some people have a very extreme reaction. They want to kill somebody, and not only they want to, they'll actually go do it, God forbid, right? Then other people, they want to inflict bodily harm. Other people, they just want to trash the person's property. They come in, they smash out their windows. That'll teach them a lesson, right? The Rambam says some people, they're satisfied just to get it out verbally, just to curse the guy. And he says, and even some people, they don't even necessarily need the person to hear them cursing them. They might just sort of mutter something under their breath, like, why you? Well, what'd you say? No, nothing at all, right? But that'll relieve them. Okay, so that's like a wide spectrum of reactions. The Rambam says none of that is good. None of that is good. And the reason it's not good is not just because the effect that it has on the person you are acting out against, but primarily, actually, it's not healthy for you, the offender, to get involved in any of these behaviors. So that's where the Torah comes and says, don't curse even a deaf person, because even though it's not going to hurt him, he didn't hear it, he doesn't know you did it, it's not healthy for you to enter into that window of getting revenge and lashing out against people, even in the most minimal way, which is doing it verbally and doing it verbally in a way that the other person doesn't even know that you're doing it. So don't curse your fellow is phrased in Torah as don't curse a deaf person, to let us know that this prohibition is for our protection. Really, the truth is all prohibitions are for our protection. But really here, it's so clear how it's for our protection, not for the protection of the person you're cursing, for the protection of you, that you shouldn't make yourself unhealthy by becoming a kind of person who goes and acts with anger toward others. Okay. Now, we are starting Hilchos Edus, the laws of testimony. And our mitzvah today, positive commandment 178, giving testimony. If you know, what do they say? If you see something, say something. Right? Okay. If you know information that is pertinent to a case, it is a mitzvah. It's not an option. It's not, maybe I'll be a nice guy. No. It is an obligation to come forth and give testimony. Okay, those are our mitzvahs for today. We'll see you for more tomorrow, God willing.